In the poem, a Bronzeville mother loiters in Mississippi. Meanwhile, a Mississippi mother burns bacon. Gwendolyn Brooks uses the ballad format, shifts, and a guilty tone to depict Carolyn Bryant as being or feeling guilty and regretful over the death of Emmett Till. So this poem is about the death of Emmett Till, and Emmett Till was a young black boy, about 14 years old, who he was from Chicago, and while he was in Mississippi visiting a relative, he whistled at a white woman who was Carolyn Bryant, and as a result, her husband and another relative murdered Emmett Till and sunk his body in the river. This story was very publicized because this was not another southern black boy, but this was a northern black boy, and that kind of thing wasn't as common in the North. So this event, Emmett Till's death, is credited with being the spark, or one of the sparks, of the civil rights movement, and is directly known as inspiring the actions of many civil rights leaders, including Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King Jr. So many of Gwendolyn Brooks's poems were concerned with civil rights, such as the Soldier Sonnets, which dealt a lot with soldiers in the military, black soldiers in the military, and the Ballad of Chocolate Mabie, in which a young black girl experiences the extent of racial segregation and discrimination for the first time. Brooks is also from Chicago, where Emmett Till was from, so this poem was obviously, or the event was obviously close to heart for her. So first I'm going to talk about the ballad format. So a ballad is a poem or a song which narrates a story. So in this poem, the story is about Carolyn Bryant after the death of Emmett Till. And in this poem, there are 3 different main characters. We have the Milk White Maid, or the Maid Mild, who is Carolyn Bryant, the Dark Villain, who is Emmett Till, and the Fine Prince, who is Carolyn's husband, who actually killed Emmett Till. So by putting this story into, by making it a ballad, Gwendolyn Brooks is able to write it as a story and to kind of explain and illustrate her ideas in a way that many readers can kind of level with and understand. The narrative format is a lot easier to understand and kind of follow, and also allows Brooks to explain her idea on who Carolyn Bryant was and how Carolyn Bryant felt about the event that took place. Brooks has also used ballads in the past, such as in the Ballad of the Chocolate Mabie, and the kind of flowing story allows her to really hold the reader's attention and to tell the story that she wants to tell, which is very good for this poem. Next, I'm going to talk about shifts. So the 2 shifts in this excerpt of the poem are going to be after the first stanza and the second stanza. So 2 different shifts. These shifts fall in with the idea that this is a ballad story being told, because the shift is almost like a shift in scene. And also has a good contrast in like what is happening. So in the first stanza and the last two stanzas, what is being described occurs in the story world of this ballad. So the first one, the first stanza introduces the characters, and the last two picks up with these characters and explains their story and gives further information about them. But this second stanza, the middle stanza, is like in the real world. So in this stanza, it's not referring to the dark villain and the fine prince and the milk white maid, but it's instead of like her living in this kind of fairy tale of the villain and the hero fighting, she's just at home cooking bacon. And it's just a great contrast between kind of the fairy tale story feel and the real life situation. So it allows for characters to be created and expressed in this story world while leveling it with the real world to further explain and help the reader comprehend what happened and why Carolyn Bryant might feel the way she's shown to feel in this poem. It also allows for the reader to better understand the situation and better comprehend what is going on and like level with all the different characters. And fairy tales are also something that many people are read growing up, so people are able to better like understand like the implications of a fine prince, dark villain, and the milk white maid, and then put that up against the contrast of what they are actually described as. So now I'm going to talk about the tone of the poem. The poem, Carolyn Bryant is given a very regretful or guilty tone. In this poem, she sounds very upset over what has happened. She's described in the second stanza. She burns bacon. The burning of the bacon kind of shows her to be distracted, possibly by the guilt she feels, or just thinking about Emmett Till and what had happened and everything, and the trial going on and all the stress she has from that. And then in the third stanza, the dark villain is described at, it says, he should have been older, and that hacking down of a villain was much more fun to think about when his menace possessed undisputed breadth, undisputed height. And this definitely shows that the villain of the story, Emmett Till, isn't the same kind of villain as you would really expect in a fairy tale. So she's kind of implying maybe like he wasn't really a villain, which would cause, if she's having thoughts about him not really being a villain, but he was still murdered because of her, then she'd probably feel pretty guilty. Also, the dark villain is described as a blackish child of 14, with eyes still too young to be dirty and a mouth too young to have lost every reminder of its infant softness. This is a straightforward description of how Emmett Till was very young and inexperienced. By saying an infant softness, he's close to like a baby. So in this, it kind of implies like how could he be a villain if he's too young to even be bad. So like all of this together, like describing Emmett Till like this, shows that he was not really evil, and that Carolyn Bryant has regrets about his death. And the guilt that is shown shows Carolyn Bryant in a way that she's not really been seen as in history, in which she's mostly seen as like the instigator for the death of this innocent boy. So by making her guilty, Brooks gives a really like a very new look on the situation. So I would think that the theme of this poem is understanding, because it seems like Brooks is trying to give a new perspective on the situation of what happened, and trying to, in a way, convince her readers to view the situation and view Carolyn Bryant in a different way than how they do now, which is not something that I would expect from someone who would have lived through the situation and had to deal with the civil rights, especially from Brooks' point of view. Yeah.